Hello there and welcome. Welcome to LATV Productions. My name is Prince Lanre Adegun, you will call KBSC. In our studios today, we have another special guest who knew Otumba Dr. Dapo Oshun-Williams very well. I don't know how well, but extremely well. She will do her own introduction herself. Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
How are you?
I'm okay, thank you.
I know you're mourning.
Yeah.
I know you've lost somebody important in your life. Who have you lost?
My father.
Your father?
Yes.
What's your name?
Sinmi Oshun-Williams.
Give me the full name. What's Sinmi?
Sinmisayo. Olasinmisayo.
Olasinmisayo.
Yes, sir.
And the surname?
Oshun-Williams.
When did you become Oshun-Williams?
Ever since I was born, it's on my birth certificate.
There was no controversy about you when you were born.
Yes, sir.
Daddy was there when you were born.
Yes, sir.
Naming ceremony, everything.
Yes.
Where were you named? Where were you born?
So I was born in London, and my naming ceremony was at a church that my mum used to attend. And we had a video recording so I could even see it and watch it, and my dad was there.
You have a video recording of your birth, the naming at the church and everything.
Yes, sir.
And like a party afterwards or something?
Yes, sir.
And your father, your late father, Otumba Dr. Dapo Oshun-Williams was there.
Yes, sir. He was there.
Tell me about your father then, if you knew well.
I mean, I don't have enough words to describe what a great man my father was. And one thing I can say is my dad tried for me. And he always never felt that he did enough. But honestly, I hope he realizes now that he did the best he could for me. My dad was a great man. He was always happy, smiling. You know, there was never any drama around him. Just a great soul, a great man, and he loved me. I can say that for a fact. I know my dad loved me, always. And honestly, I couldn't have ever asked for a better father. Even given the circumstances, I would never trade my dad in. Never.
Simi,
Yes, sir.
you sound like you miss Daddy.
I miss him so much.
How often did you communicate before he passed on?
We saw each other quite a lot.
When you say quite a lot, how lot is lot?
I would say
On
every other
average?
week. Every other week.
On average, every other week.
Yep, he would always come to visit me where I live with my mum.
You didn't live with your stepmother.
No.
Why?
Because as far as I'm aware, she never wanted to accept me as my dad's child.
Did you ask Dad?
Yes, I did.
How often did you ask and what did he always say to you?
So I would ask a few times, I would say to him, Dad, why is it that I can't come and visit you at your home?
Your home.
And he would say, of course, when I was younger, I would ask a lot more. As a child, you always ask.
You want to go with Daddy home, yeah?
Yes, and he would say, Simi, you know, it's just the circumstances. You're too young to understand right now. And as I got older, and I believe I asked maybe twice, and he would say, you know, it's my wife at home. To be honest with you, she doesn't want to accept you and your brother because he obviously made sure that me and my brother had a relationship. And he would say, you know, she doesn't want to accept that you are my children, and bringing her into the home is, he honestly, my dad was very respectful of others. He would say that it's disrespectful for her to bring us home since she doesn't want to accept us.
You said Daddy did so much for you that you would not trade him for another father.
100%. Yes.
100%.
Yes.
Was he there for you, responsible for education and
He
everything?
was there for me, even from when I was young, sending me feeding money, all the way through school. He was there. He would take me to doctor's appointments when I needed him to. If my mum wasn't able to take me, you know, he drove me to my prom, and for my 16th for my prom, and he picked me up in the Bentley, took pictures, and even for university.
You had the pictures as you grew up?
Yes.
And the video?
Yes, I do. even my friends know him as my dad. Like, they were always bragging, your dad, your dad, your dad. You know, he was
With his
such a
Bentley
nice
and all
man.
those flashy cars, yeah.
Yeah, honestly. And, you know, through university, he financed the whole thing.
So your friend was even envious of this daddy that comes for the daughter all the time with these flashy cars, Bentleys and so on.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
That's one really good memory. You know, every time my dad would pick me up, he's always got nice cars. We know this.
Oh, yes.
And
yes.
because, you know, the cars are personalized, so they will now recognize, oh, that's your dad.
Dapo! Oh.
Yeah, it was nice.
And it's, you know.
Always dressing nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, when was the first time you knew your stepmother?
To be honest, I've heard about her from when I was young. I would say maybe from 5 years old, just
What
hearing
mommy
when
told
people
you
are
or
speaking.
what daddy said?
Mummy, because I would ask her as well, you know, why does dad, you know, why is he not here? Why don't I live with him? But then I believe I can't remember what age I was. I think I was in my teenage years. And the first time I saw her physically with my own two eyes was at my dad's senior brother's birthday party. And it was hosted, I believe, in a hotel in London. And all of the siblings were there, we were there. And I remember...
You were there?
Yes, my dad said that I should attend with my older sister. And we both went. And that's where I first saw Dad's wife, you know, for the first time with my own two eyes.
Dad's wife or your stepmother?
I would never class her as my stepmother. Even when people say it, the feeling that it creates in me, she doesn't deserve that title.
Why?
Because before, it was always hearsay. Like, she's this, she's that. But that day that I said the first time I laid my eyes on her at my uncle's birthday party, her behaviour just confirmed.
What behaviour? Did you try to say hello or something?
So, not really, no, because I knew from there, my dad obviously pointed her out to me. And it was very difficult. There was some distance. Of course, there were loads of family and friends.
I was going to say that. Did dad cause that distance? Why didn't dad take you to her to say, oh my kid, this is your daughter, Sinmi, saying hello?
He did.
Your dad did?
From my memory, he did. And I remember I greeted her, but she was cold and there was distance. And my younger sister, Wemimo, of course, at this time, she knew who I was because my dad would bring her to meet me and we would go out.
Hold on. Daddy was
He
bringing
tried.
Wemimo to you?
Yes.
And then you'll both, three of you will go out together,
together.
have some nice time,
Yes.
and say, that's your sister. You knew Wemimo as your sister from a young age.
I did.
And your mother saw this happen. Your mother will see them when he will come and pick you up to take you together with my mama
All
for...
the time, Mum would greet her and always ask of her, how was she? At the party, Wemimo she recognized me and she ran over to me and said, my sister, my sister.
Pardon?
Yes. Wemimo recognized me at this party and she ran over to me and she was excited to see me.
How old were you then?
I believe I was in my early teens, maybe 12.
You were in secondary school, like...
Yeah,
Oh.
I believe I was in secondary school.
My sister.
And she was around me. We were with our cousins, other cousins from dad's side, because I know them very well. So we were all together. And my dad's younger sister, of course, I wasn't paying attention to what the adults were discussing. But I do remember at the time we wanted to take a family photograph and Wemimo stood next to me. And her mum dragged her from my side to go and stand with her. But then my dad then dragged Wemimo back and said, go back and stand with your sister. And we took the photograph. And even before that, her mum made attempts to pull her away from me during the course of that night. And of course, I've heard certain things, but, you know, I was still young trying to piece everything together, but I got the gist.
So, you're not ready to blame your dad for the relationship that transpired between you and your stepmother. So your father did not hide you from your stepmother?
No. That's why some people can say it because they don't see the inside. But I know what my dad did. And he tried. That's why I believe him when he would tell me, it's this woman that doesn't want, you know, she doesn't want to accept you guys. She doesn't want to see you guys around her. and out of respect for her and to not cause any drama, my dad would, he would respect those boundaries.
So your father didn't want any trouble, kind of.
And he was that kind of man. He never liked drama or trouble.
But he was there for you.
He was
you didn't miss, you didn't lack anything, even without you being able to just go to your daddy's door and say, hey.
That was probably the only barrier, not being able to go to his house, but he made sure he was there for me in the best ways he could be there for me.
Sinmi, are you sure? Because I'm going back again. Are you really sure mom and dad gave birth to you? You were not adopted?
100%.
Because if you're adopted as well, your name will be Oshun-Williams anyway.
100% sure.
Sinmi, one other thing that's flying around, so gone viral, is that somebody else has laid claim to you being his daughter. That you went for a DNA a couple of years ago, and now it's been discovered that no, Dapo was never your father.
I can say that's all false. There's no truth to that. And even at the naming ceremony, a lot of my mum's friends were there, and they're even saying they can testify to that. There was no one there trying to, claim that they're my father.
So lately there was nothing like a DNA or somebody saying, okay.
No, for me to sit here, I have never once questioned whether my father was my father. And for me to be able to say that and know that, it shows that's how I grew up. Like there was never any doubt that, my dad wasn't my dad. That I didn't think, there was nothing there. No proof, nothing.
I will ask again directly. And there's never been somebody else, another man, claiming that, no, Sinmi is my daughter, and I've done the DNA, and this is what we discovered, that she's truly my daughter, not Dapo's daughter.
Never heard that in my entire life. And if we heard, my dad would be very angry. He would speak on it. Never heard.
Where did you go to uni?
I went to university in De Montfort in Leicester.
And what did you do at uni?
So I studied business and management for my undergraduate, and then I stayed for one more year to complete my master's in business administration.
Daddy was there for you?
Yeah, he was. He financed everything. He was there for my graduations. He was there always calling me and speaking to me, encouraging me, because university is difficult.
Who is that boy taking picture with my daughter? He should behave himself. Give me that smile, baby. My first class, baby. Oh, give daddy a kiss. Congratulations. Wow, that's a proud mom. And a big sister. Woo, woo, woo. Proud mama. Yes, sir.
Sinmi,
Yes, sir.
Daddy, he didn't get student finance.
No.
He did like £50,000 on you.
Yes, you can say that.
How do you feel when you see all these things? They've discovered Sinmi is not his daughter. Hey, she's not this and that, she's adopted. What do you think when you see all these things flying around, and for the poor man that you've just lost, a father, indeed, like you just said?
To be honest, what they're saying about me, it doesn't really bother me, because I know the truth. And as I mentioned before, I've never had any doubt that my dad, I know that's my dad. The only thing that upsets me is that people will speak ill of the dead. At least respect the dead. He cannot come back and defend himself. I think that's very wrong of people. To even if it was true, don't speak ill of the dead. That's just my thing. What they say about, I know the truth. My entire family knows the truth, including my dad's side of the family. They've accepted me. They know me. I am my dad's child.
Who have accepted you?
Everyone from my dad's side of the family, all of my uncles, my aunties, Even my grandma, before she passed.
Oh, you
I
knew
met
grandma?
her. Yes.
But you didn't spend time with them because you were born here.
I was born here, yes.
So you never really spent time with grandma
When I
back
go
home.
to visit,
In Lagos?
yeah, she would always see me and she would just look at me. She's like, I can see Dapo, like, you know, that's Dapo's child. And she would always embrace me. Yeah.
On the day of your dad's burial,
Yeah.
you went with your big brother,
Yes.
Tolu,
Yes.
that came from the United States of America,
That's correct. So,
to pay the last respect.
yes.
What happened?
So, we arrived at the burial and there was security there, which was very unusual. And the security guard, he was already acting as if, like he knew who we were. It was like, no, you're not going through. And then we saw that he had a list in his hand. It was folded up. And my brother asked him, is there any Oshun-Williams on that list? And the guy was looking at it. He said, no. Either way, my brother managed to, just get him aside and we managed to just walk in. My mind is just blank from all the events, but we managed to walk in and we managed to find a spot that was just next to where my dad's casket was. The security guard followed us and he stood in front of us. He was blocking my view. And then I remember we were there for probably a good 10 minutes before anyone said anything or any drama. Music was playing, the priest did a prayer, we joined in, we prayed. And then out of nowhere, someone, I don't even know who this person was because everyone was having masks.
Masks, okay, yeah.
So you couldn't really identify people properly, but there was a lady that was called the funeral director over. And she was whispering to him, saying something, and all of a sudden the funeral director walks up to my brother and says, I'm sorry, but you can't be here, you have to go. So of course my brother's questioning, why do I have to go? It doesn't make sense. And the funeral director saying, my client does not want you to be here. And my brother then said, I believe he said, how would you feel if, it was your father that was being buried and you weren't allowed to pay your last respect because someone is saying they don't want you here. And I could see in the funeral director's eyes that he didn't understand the situation until that was mentioned. But I could tell that he was sympathizing with us. He could feel that this is not right. And there was a lot of drama in the sense there was back and forth. Can you leave? Of course, my brother said he's not going to leave. Me and my sister, my older sister, Bisla, we said we're not going to leave. It's just not right. We're here. We've been here for a good few minutes. No drama, nothing. What's the big deal? We're here to pay our last respects to our father. And there was a lot of back and forth. The funeral directors, they were contemplating just to continue the ceremony. And at one point he walked away and he continued the ceremony. Then the woman pointed out again and called him over and said, you need to tell these people to go. So the funeral director was speaking with my brother, and eventually, with all the commotion, my brother ended up walking away a little bit, and it was me and my older sister that were still there. Then after this same woman, I now saw this so-called stepmother speak to that same woman and give her instructions. And then I heard the woman call the funeral director again and say, and those two ladies in the blue, they need to leave. So the funeral director walked up to us and he said, we need to leave. Because I was just so angry, I believe I probably walked away at that point. And around that time, my mum had turned up and I didn't realize, so she was at the entrance. And honestly, I don't remember the exact events. There was just so much drama back and forth going on. But eventually, I think we went to speak to the funeral director. And he said, honestly, I understand where you guys are coming from. But he said, because you're not my clients and you didn't pay me, I have to follow her instructions. However, how about you guys let these people pay their last respects and I will ask them to stand aside and then allow you to come and do your own. And I looked him in the eyes and I said, are you making this a promise that you will allow us to come and pay our last respects? He said, yes. And I said, okay. And we all heard and we decided, okay, let's leave. Because at the end of the day, we didn't go there for drama. That's not what our dad deserved. We just wanted to pay our last respects in peace. And eventually we were able to do that.
Did you instruct anyone to record the video of what happened?
I did not, no.
Did you know the person who recorded?
Yes, she's my auntie from my mom's side.
So it wasn't Tolu or you that said. Is that the same lady that was recording was the one that was calling Sinmi? Did she say you guys shouldn't pay the last respect? Baba wani now.
She doesn't want you guys to know. I didn't even realize anyone was recording. It was all just such a mess.
I asked your brother, what would he have done better if he were your stepmother? What would you have done?
Honestly.
Because here is somebody.
Yeah.
Look, I'm a father. I'm a grandfather. Here is a woman who is hurting. She just lost her husband. You just lost your dad.
Yeah.
Same, kind of.
Yeah.
But here is a woman who had, before losing her husband, had established, I don't want these children here. And daddy had confirmed that. Simi, you're young, but I know you're very intelligent. You are a chip off the old block.
Yes.
With experience and brain, because, what would you have done otherwise? Would you have done it the way your stepmother took it, or whoever was that lady?
No, I would have done things in a completely different way.
How?
So we're saying that my second stepmother, she didn't want to accept us, never wanted to see us. Fair enough. But now that your husband has passed on, I believe those feelings shall also die. At the end of the day, once people leave, reality should hit you that none of this anger, none of this negative feeling should exist, at least out of respect for my father. I believe she should have just been willing to say, look, these are his children, whether I want to accept them or not, they're still his children. Just allow us to pay our last respects. That's it. It wouldn't cost her anything.
Viewers, I'm with Simi, the first daughter, as Simi has established, of our late Otumba, Dr. Dapo Oshun-Williams. I'll see you on the other side of this program. Welcome back. I'm still with one of the daughters of Otumba, Dr. Dapo Oshun-Williams, as established by Simi. Simi, if your stepmother came knocking on your door today and she says, oh, now I understand, let's bury the hatchet, what would be your reply?
If I'm being honest, I wouldn't trust that she's being genuine. So I wouldn't know how to react, but I wouldn't trust it.
Was there something you thought Daddy would have done better before he left?
I mean, I guess we were all expecting him to put more of an effort to connect us, but on my part, I genuinely believe he did his best. I believe there's a deeper reason as to why it couldn't go beyond a certain point. But of course, we don't know.
So you're never ever going to apportion any blame on Daddy?
No. I believe he did. I believe my dad tried. I do.
When did you get in touch? When did you get connected to Tolu, and who connected you both?
I was quite young when I first met my brother, but my mum and dad, they would of course speak about Tolu, and anytime.
Your mom and dad discussed Tolu?
Yeah, all the time, yes.
Oh.
All the time. And every time, my mum used to take me to Nigeria with her a lot, but I was of course very young, but my dad would always make sure, he would always say to mum, just make sure, you try and see Tolu or connect Sinmi and Tolu. Even though my mum had it in her heart and intentions to do it, my dad would of course still make sure he would speak on it. And yeah, so my mum, I believe the first time I went, I was with my mum, and my dad was also there, I believe. And I believe I met my brother. I don't remember it vividly because I was very young, but I did meet my brother again in Nigeria several times after that.
Your brother was in Nigeria then anyway, when you were born, yeah.
Yeah.
The thing about mom, what did mom tell you? Mom.
Yeah.
What did she tell you about her relationship with dad? Was it like something that they thought could blossom and become like a marriage, or did they get married?
To what I know, they didn't get married, but there was talks of that, and I believe the intention was there.
Intention was there.
Yeah.
But at that time, when you came into the world,
Yeah.
I thought your dad must have gotten married to her
Yes,
wife.
I believe so.
Right. And then mom moved on,
Yeah.
but dad was still connecting, coming home to pick you up, to do everything that it was shouldering his responsibility on you.
Exactly.
Responsibilities
Yeah.
on you.
And dad and mum, even though mum had moved on, they always still had a friendship.
They were friends.
Genuine friends. They were genuinely friends.
But there are times you were privy to mommy advising daddy or daddy advising mommy about how to go about things in life.
I mean, yes, mum mentioned it to him as well, that, he should try a bit more to at least connect. Because he already tried to connect me with Mummy, it was more so now connecting my older brother with Mummy because we were already connected. Yeah.
Now that Wemi is, how old is Wemi now? You are about 5 years old, or 20?
I believe she's 20 now.
And then you're
25.
25.
Yeah.
How often do you still connect? Facebook, social media, WhatsApp?
So Wemi and I, we used to message each other via text. I believe around the time that I was in university. And there was a time that I would message her and I could tell her responses they weren't the same. It was almost like she was forcing herself to respond to me. And then eventually she just stopped responding.
What was she calling you then? How would she?
Simi.
Just Simi, not
Yeah,
sis.
just
Simi,
Simi.
yeah.
And then I just said to myself, okay, she's growing up. I believe that by her age she would have a mind of her own, so I don't want to feel like I need to force myself on anyone. It just felt as though she just didn't really want to speak to me as much, even though Dad did try. And sometimes he would say, when was the last time you spoke to your sister, to me? And but eventually, that just died down, that communication. And I did speak to my dad about it, and I said, I've tried to reach out to her, but she's not really responding, so I don't want her to feel like she's forced to respond. And he said, you know what, he did say that her mum is the one that's poisoning her mind.
Your dad said that?
Yes, and he said, so if Wemi doesn't respond to you, you don't need to force it. Eventually she will, develop a mind of her own.
What do you miss most about Dad?
Just whenever I receive his phone calls and just how excited I could tell he was in his voice. And every time just, I love you, telling me he's proud of me. And just when I'd see him, even just how excited I would feel at seeing my dad, it's like I would feel like a small girl running up to him like, Dad,
It's Christmas.
Those moments. I will miss the Christmases that he would come and spend with us. And you know, the videos we record, just dancing.
Yes, I was going to that.
fun.
Yeah. You're a very good dancer, but you didn't dance for long.
No, I didn't. A lot. We even have pictures of, like, you know, we have pictures of him in the house. A lot of my friends, even some of our neighbors, they know of him as, oh yeah,
Dad.
this is Sarah's dad, Sinmi's dad. You know, yeah, a lot. Like my dad, he was not a stranger. That was my father, and he made sure he showed up in my life.
So, if you were asked today what your daddy's religion was, what would you call him? Muslim.
Yeah.
And then for Christmas, your mom is a Christian, is it?
Yes, she is.
And then you are.
Christian as well.
What's your Muslim name?
Samyat.
Samyat. Anyway, so dad made it, he was religious about, he made it like one of his duties
Yeah.
to be with you at Christmas,
Yeah.
Easter.
Sometimes Easter, yes.
He will be with you, dine with you.
Yeah. And he would bring
Because that was one of the
presents.
things he came and did in the video that went viral.
Yeah. It was always it was tradition. Like Christmas would never be without my father coming.
Seriously.
If he didn't show up, there's something wrong. Like you would suspect what's going on.
What would you suspect was going on?
I don't know. You would just think, is he is everything okay?
Is he in town?
Yeah, exactly. And whenever he wouldn't be able to make it, he would call and give us a heads up that, okay, I'm going to be abroad for so time, but I'll make sure I come on so day. And we'd see him for the new year as well, and he would, you know, he would pray with us. We'd cross over together. And he would never miss any birthdays or any like celebrations. He was even there for my older sister's graduation. You know, we'd go out to eat. He was there for everything.
I guess you were the one that put that video out, the Christmas 2018.
No, I believe my dad was the one that sent it
To
to some of his friends, because he recorded it. It was on his phone.
so you don't know how that went viral eventually.
No, I don't.
You didn't do it.
No.
Your sister didn't.
No.
Mom didn't.
None of us.
Are you sure you didn't?
Promise. Yeah. None of us.
You had the video.
Yep, he sent it to us. We have a family forum or family group chat.
Oh,
on
you
WhatsApp.
had a group chat. Who set it up?
Dad. Oh.
What message have you got for our viewers?
I mean, I would just say that this is me. We have no reason to lie. There's nothing to benefit from lying on the dead. I mean, this is the truth, and there's many people out there that can testify this, but I believe we're just not the type of people to get on social media to try and prove anything. There's no need. We know the truth. We're not fighting anybody. There's just, you know, there's no need. And that, you know, he is my dad. Even though he's gone, he's still my dad. He will always be my dad. And that's all I can say. Everyone will believe whatever they want to believe, but the truth is the truth and will always be the truth.
Have you got anything to say more about Dad? You know, like a condolence message to your father? Like you're talking to Dad, you look in that camera.
I haven't been able to grieve my father properly. So speaking about him, all I can say is my dad, he was very hardworking. And he made sure he was there for everyone and anyone. You know, he was the most generous person I've ever met. Like, he would even give his last to people. And one thing I can see out of this, the one thing I can take comfort from all of this is that I know my dad has now gone to rest. He was always busy. He would hardly take holidays for himself. And I have to see it in the way that he's gone to rest in peace. I pray that he's happy.
We'll come back to you in a minute. Keep it rolling. Well, you've had it from Simi. She's hurting, she's mourning, and very sad as well. She's upset. Thank you for being there. I'm Prince Lanre Adego, Kabiesi.